Welcome to today's special interview. If you're part of a team that uses BDD, behavior driven development, you know the incredible benefits it brings. Improved collaboration between developers, testers, and business stakeholders, leading to software that truly meets users' needs. Free open source tools like Cucumber, SpecFlow, or Wreck-N-Roll as it's now called, Behave and Behat have been a cornerstone for many teams adopting BDD, and they offer a great starting point for implementing this powerful methodology. However, as teams grow and projects become more complex, you do start to see some challenges arising. While these tools provide a solid foundation, teams often face issues such as a lack of visibility to stakeholders, where the feature files are just stored in version control, difficulty learning Gherkin syntax for people who are new to it, and maintaining kind of consistent terminology across your feature files. Seeing that bigger picture of how each scenario fits into the wider testing strategy can be challenging, especially as the number of scenarios grows. And integrating BDD with version control systems like Git can be tough for people who are coming from a manual testing background. So today, I'm excited to introduce Alexis Despeyroux from ConformIQ, who's the product manager for an innovative tool designed specifically for teams using BDD. It's called ConformIQ Visualizer. We're going to explore how this tool enhances collaboration, improves visibility, and seamlessly integrates with your existing workflows. Let's get into it. Okay, welcome, Alexis. Let's start by hearing a quick overview of the tool. Like, give me your elevator pitch. Who's it for, and what does it do for them?
Yes, hello, Matt. So, ConformIQ Visualizer is really built for small, medium, and big enterprise. And the goal of ConformIQ Visualizer is really to help to develop Gherkin and maintain them. So we have some great feature, like for example, how to handle data. We are connected with Git, Jira, and also this tool is really here if you are looking for collaboration, if you are looking for automation. Basically, if you are using BDD, this tool is for you.
Okay. And I know you said, you mentioned a couple of them there, but there's some like specific integration points that you've chosen about where this tool surfaces and how it sort of joins into the wider ecosystem of tools that people are tending to use on software projects. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, of course, Matt. ConformIQ Visualizer was really done for people to improve the speed of Gherkin creation. So, for example, one of the integration that we have is, of course, because a lot of our customers are integrated with Git. So what we have is we have, of course, some Git integration. So for the big name, we are integrated with Bitbucket, GitLab. So any kind of Git tool that you are using, we are kind of integrated with them. Also, we are integrated with some data import, so you can import some data directly inside ConformIQ Visualizer. So like that, you are able to reuse your internal data that you want to use inside your Gherkin file. And of course, we are integrated with Jira. And when I'm talking about Jira, it means that you can connect ConformIQ Visualizer directly into Jira. So like that, what you can do is you can, for example, update your file into Visualizer and then just push it into into Jira.
Say a bit more about that. So when you say your file, you mean your Gherkin feature files. That's what
Correct.
you're talking
Yes.
about there, your specifications.
Yes. So, for example, when I open Jira, what you have is inside, let's say, the task that you have inside Jira, inside the user story. What you can do is you can really link directly your feature file directly to your Jira, let's say, task. And the goal of that is, of course, to simplify the way people are working with Gherkin. So, like that, you don't have some crazy repository where you need to find. No, now everything is inside Jira and everything is linked to Visualizer. So you can really navigate through Visualizer and Jira at the same time. So you can really open your task, click on ConformIQ Visualizer that you have here, and then, just click on open the feature file that you want, and then it will open directly Visualizer and you will be directly on the project on your feature file to review, work on it, or do automation.
Okay, and that feature file is also syncing with GitHub or Bitbucket or wherever you're storing your source control file. So you've got that visualizer is becoming a connection point between Jira and your source control repository.
Yes, correct. So one of the big challenge that we had with Visualizer was really like when people are working with BDD, usually they are not really so technical. So we wanted to have a tool that is really easy to use, and making a tool easy to use is not something that is easy at all. It's really something complex. So the Git integration is really something that we really worked a lot to be really easy. Like for example, if you see my screen, we can really, let's say, push the file that I want, put a little message, click on commit, and then it will be available inside your Git repository. It's as simple as that.
Right. Yeah, and I definitely know what you mean there about sort of needing to make some of these things easier for people, especially people that are coming from a manual testing background into test automation. Yeah. So we've got the integration with Git and with Jira. So we're in Jira right now, as you're showing me, and we can see a feature file there with scenarios. Again, sort of talking about that the kind of like the experience of people that are relatively new to Gherkin. We have some guidance here in the feature file about like how to write the Gherkin? What's the tool
Yes.
giving us there?
Yes. So as a guidance, for example, what we have is we have some auto suggestion of keywords. We have also some auto suggestion of files that was already used before in your Gherkin project. What we have is what we wanted to have with this approach is to have two kind of level of Gherkin writing. We have the view that you have here in front of you is really let's say a text view where you are already used to write Gherkin, really easy, really flexible. You can drag and drop some data over there. But we have also another view for people that are really new inside Gherkin. And what we have is you are guided to write your Gherkin. So you have some special place where you can drag and drop data. You can have tags. You can have, for example, also some let's say title for scenario outline. How you manage scenario and scenario outline is also um, integrated in that. So if you change, for example, from scenario to scenario outline, you know that, hey, for scenario outline, you need to have some example. So if you are really new inside Gherkin, this view type will really be helpful to you for you to get it started. So we really built this tool to a new user, new people that want to adopt BDD, and also for, let's say, old user that want to have a lot of flexibility. I also want to point out that what we've done is we've done a special way to handle data. So I know that when I was writing a Gherkin script, so if I come back on code, it was like a bit complicated to have a lot of data, or when I say a lot, to have a bit more, let's say, data in your Gherkin script. So what we decided to do is we decided to have this kind of data bank where
Mm.
you can really import your data in it. So manage all your data inside this data bank, and just, drag and drop this data either in the model or in your script. So like that, again, really easy to change the data. You want to improve your data, you can just import some new data or just change the data in the data bank, and it will impact all your Gherkin file. Exactly the same for the model, Matt. So we are coming from model-based testing, and for
Yeah.
us,
Yeah,
model,
I'd like to get into talking about MBT. Can we stay on the data for a minute, though, Alexis? Because I think this is
of
really
course.
interesting. One of
Yes.
the features that we often get asked for in Cucumber is to sort of integrate with spreadsheets, so that in a Gherkin document you could kind of reference a spreadsheet and have it loaded in. Are you able to drop spreadsheets into this data bank?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
it's actually one of the feature that was for me really really useful, because a lot of our customers are handling a lot of data. So what we've decided to do since the beginning, it's really to be able to import your, let's say, Excel spreadsheet directly inside the visualizer, so like that you can reuse. It was one of the actual first feature that we've added around
yeah.
data management.
Yeah, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that will be really excited about that. And you can use that both for a data table that goes within a step, but also for a scenario outline table as well. Can you? Or is
Correct.
the
Yes.
yeah
Yes, you can really drag and drop, a bit everywhere. So everywhere where you can use inside the Gherkin language uh, data in general, you can drag and drop here. And
Right.
of course, if it's not possible in the language, the tool will block you to do some mistake. So the tool
Yeah.
is also here to kind of check that your Gherkin script is correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And these, and when you're composing new steps here as well, you were saying it's giving you clues about previous steps that you've already written. So you're going to be hopefully hitting existing step definitions rather than writing new ones. Yeah, great. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So yeah, this
Yes.
experience here on the left in the code view is a lot like what you get in, say, VS Code or IntelliJ if you're using the Cucumber plugins. But the views version on the right is like a really nice guided way of doing that for people who are newer to Gherkin. And you've also got this extra feature with the data management as well, because sometimes tidying up those data tables can be quite fiddly. And also, if you want to maintain your data in a separate store like a spreadsheet, it's just a manual process to copy and paste it into Gherkin otherwise.
Yes, Matt. Maybe can I just quickly jump on the model here? I just want to give a small
Mm,
background around the model because, as you know, we are coming from MBT, and maybe we'll talk about MBT just after. But
yeah.
for us, it's something that is really important to have also a model view because sometimes when you have a lot of scenarios, and again, a lot of our customer already have a lot of scenarios, and by just seeing the model you can already understand some of the scenarios, and it's why it's for us, because we are coming from model based testing. It was really something that was pretty logic for us, like sometimes text is not enough, a picture is
Yeah.
better, and it's why we've added this nice model that you have
So,
on the right.
so the example that we're looking at here for people who are new to model-based testing, can you talk us through the relationship between the graphical model that we see on the right and the scenarios that we're reading on the left? How do they relate to each other?
Yes, of course. So you will see that what we have is we have three entry point and three, let's say, outside points. So it means that we have three scenarios. Three scenario means that inside my text on the left, I will find three scenarios. If there is some common steps, like for example, this given that you have here, this given that is common to these three scenarios, what you will see is you will see a merge. So it means that if I want to change these specific steps everywhere in all my scenarios, then I just need to change that in my model and I don't need to go through all my scenarios. It's
Mm-hmm.
also something that can be really interesting if you are starting to have some big, let's say, really big feature file, and we know that people are struggling to manage big feature file. So by having a model, when you have some merger of common steps, you just change the text, you just improve the let's say the text of this box only at one place, and it will impact all your feature file. So when we are talking about maintenance of feature file, when we are talking about improving feature file, a graphical model, as soon as you are used to it, it's the best place to change.
Hmm. So we can edit both the right-hand model view and the left-hand Gherkin view, and they both synchronize together.
Yes, it's actually also part of the of Visualizer. Is we have a really strong engine, and the goal of this engine is always to keep in sync what you have on the left and what you have on the right. So it means that all the thing that you can do on the left, you can do on the right. And it's exactly the same thing. All the thing that you can do in the model, you can do also on the code part. So like that, if you are, let's say, an old style guy and you want to improve your and create your feature file directly inside the code view, no problem. I mean, it's like you are doing right now today. But if you are more high level management and you want to be a bit more graphical because you don't want to write too much thing, just go in the model and we will keep everything in sync.
And are there circumstances where seeing this model helps to see gaps, where you can maybe identify that there is a scenario missing or something like that? Does the model help us with that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a matter of representation. What we had, and if I can give this example, one moment we had this huge, really huge feature file from one of our customer. I think it was around, let's say, 2K line. I mean, it was really big, and when we've started to regenerate the model on the right, what we saw, because it was not possible to read through this big file, what we saw is at the end it was only 3, let's say, scenarios, and the only thing that was changing was sometime a bit of data. So what the tool was doing is it was just merging all the data together when it was possible, and at the end, instead of maintaining this 2K line, you were maintaining only, let's say, 3 line, a bit like that on the right. So it
Right.
was much easier to handle and to understand. If I give this big file to you, Matt, you will be like, whoa, this is really huge. But if I give you the exact same thing in a model, you will say,
Yeah.
oh, okay, it's good. Maybe you just need
Interesting.
some improvement in Gherkin.
Yeah. So maybe what it also helps you to see is where you have duplication in the gherkin, where you have basically two scenarios that are testing the same thing.
Yes, it's
Right.
one of the big algorithm. It's the, I think, the latest algorithm that we've got inside Visualizer. And again, it's based on customer experience. When we were studying some file, we were like seeing that a lot of duplication was done, and a lot of improvement could be also done automatically inside the file. For example, I was a bit surprised, but not so much people are using background step. So what we are doing by just adding this new concept in the feature file, already a lot of thing was like optimizing inside the file, and also check of duplication. And when I'm talking about duplication, I'm not talking about only line, but I was talking about data. For example, if all the, let's say, the n given when are exactly the same, then what we will do is we will probably merge the data. So like that, instead of having 20, let's say, scenario with just some little data that change, what you will have is you will have one scenario, but you will have a big data table. Again, in Visualizer, it's easy to manage data table.
Right. Right. So it's giving you a way to kind of get this more holistic picture of what's in a single feature file at least. Does it give you a view across multiple feature files? Is there a way to see a model across multiple feature files, or is it just per feature file right now?
So right now it's per feature file, but we have some ideas about how we can, let's say, add all this feature file together. But for that, probably we can talk about how and what is our vision about how we can and
Mm.
how we are integrated BDD and MBT, Matt.
Yeah, so please tell me a bit more about the big vision for the tool, Alexis. Let's hear about where you see this going.
Yeah, so as you know, everybody is talking about artificial intelligence, and
Yeah, I was wondering when that was going to come up.
so of course we need to talk about it. And where Conform IQ wants to go is really to embed artificial intelligence into Visualizer. So I can talk about some pretty nice feature that we have available right now only on demand. Is, for example, Conformic Copilot, where you just write a sentence or description about what type of scenario that you want to write, and the Gen AI will generate for you some kind of skeleton of scenario. So like that, you can use it as it is, or you can improve, of course. The goal is not really to, I don't want to say that we want to target a perfect, let's say, feature file. I don't think it's really possible with LLM right now. But what we want to do is we want to help our customer to speed up the Gherkin creation process.
Hmm.
And also, we have another feature that is called Conformic AI Automation. Where we want to, based on a scan of the application, we want to merge the scan of the application, the step definition file that we are producing right now today in Conformic Visualizer, and add the two together. So like that, the goal is to help also people around automation to have step definition kind of pre-written. So like that, they just need to do some little improvements or some re-recording of some steps if needed. So it's really where we want to go, add more and more AI into this tool.
So really giving sort of guidance to people that are newer to test automation. They can use something more like a plain language prompt to generate at least a starting point for their scenarios and test automation for them.
Yeah, so it's not really a prompt, because writing a prompt can be a bit complicated.
Mm.
You need to know what you want. So we
Can you show
write
me an example?
basically. Yes, I can. So basically, what we can do is when we are, for example, generating for Cucumber.js, what you have is you have the step definition that are empty right now. And the idea of that is, okay, how can I add inside the step definition some action? For example, if I click on, if I do a research on Google, I need to write something inside the Google text box, and I need to click on search. So the idea of all of that is to just load the plugin, scan the Google page, so like that we have all the XPath and everything. And what we will do based on the scan, we will like automatically generate all the little code that is under, let's say, the click action. So the
Right.
LLM can really understand all the action, because again, it's based on Gherkin. So you have some description. What you can add also is you can add some extra, let's say, information inside the step definition. So like that, you can guide the LLM to generate something that is not really maybe clear inside your Gherkin sentence. So you can also add some information in it. And what we will do is we will take all the scanned XPath and let's say item that you have on your web page, and we will kind of merge the step definition that you have in front of you and generate automatically what is inside all this little function. It's where we are
I think
going.
I see. Right. Okay. So I guess it depends on the one hand, you expressing clearly enough that the LLM can understand what the intent is in the step definition, and then it also depends on you having an HTML page that's been rendered by something that also has kind of semantic clarity in it, that the LLM is going to be able to try and find some binding between the two, because it's going to try and find like CSS selectors or something in the HTML
Yes.
to connect to.
Yes, and it's also really useful. I mean, if you don't have an HTML ready, if you don't have your SUT ready, what we want to do is we want to generate also a kind of, again, pre-automation steps inside. So like that, when you, let's say, when you have your SUT ready, when you have at least something ready around your SUT, what you can do is you can just change your XPath, and all the code, all the check is already kind of pre-written by this ConformIQ AI.
Yeah, right, cool. So, because this is the thing I was kind of thinking about here, is that like my preference when I'm using a tool like Cucumber is to do test-driven development. So I would use the step definitions to actually think about like what shape do I want the HTML to be, and then I'm going to see that test fail because we haven't generated it yet, and I'm going to use that to sort of drive out what I'm going to do to the HTML page. But actually, what you're saying is that the LLM can guide me even with that task. Maybe it's looking at the way we've done other step definitions and it's kind of sticking with the same conventions to assume, make assumptions about how we're going to implement these new features that we're building in whatever the new story is that's covered by this feature file.
Yes. So the idea on how you are guiding the LLM is really by writing some description about what you are looking at, and then the tool will generate all the automation for you.
Right. Yeah, exciting. So, and this piece with the automation today, the step definitions today for the automation, this is also integrated with Git, I guess. So these step
Yes.
definitions, I can be pulling them in and out of Git.
It's what you can see here on the
Yeah,
left.
yeah,
You just plug into your Git, and then you can push, and you can also, I mean, it's not a direct push to the main, let's say, folder of your Git. You can also select in which folder you want to push every feature file. So if you are let's say generating some step definition in different, let's say, folder, you can also select. So we are really, really flexible, and again, this is really, really simple to use.
cool. Okay, well, so you've given me a great whirlwind tour of all of the features in this tool, Alexis. What about like what's missing for you? Where are you? I mean, obviously, we've talked about you have sort of intentions with these LLM features. Is there anything else that you feel is missing from it that you're sort of looking forward to adding in the future? People, maybe things that people have asked you for that have been trying it out. Where are the gaps?
So one of the feature that we've been asking that one of our customers just asked, let's say last week, I think it was a more like of global project management. So right now we are like I was saying, managing feature by feature file, and now what we want is we want to really like have this kind of global BDD project approach where you can really manage your full project, do some research into multiple feature files. So to have this kind of more complex approach when it's about handling some big projects. So it's a bit what we are right now studying, and it's a bit where I think we will go. But it's the little feature that I think will add quite soon.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of pull for that from people in the past when we've been looking at things like this. Is this sort of helicopter view, even actually across projects sometimes? So across like what might be in multiple Git repositories, they want to be able to search to say, if we're going to change the business rule about the driving age in the state of Minnesota, how many of our systems is that going to impact? And they want to be able to like search right across the specifications for multiple projects even. But definitely being able to search across a whole project seems like a really useful thing, and being able to sort of see that holistic view. Anything about test results? Have you had any feedback about that, or like what is your vision there? Is your intention to leave test result reporting to other tools, or do you think that's something that will come into Visualizer one day?
So right now, we want to leave all of that, all the execution and the test results. We want to leave that to some, let's say, people that are more specialized around that. Our
Mm-hmm.
job is to give you the best test suite, the best test cases, but around the automation and around the test results. So after the execution, right now we are not, let's say, going in that direction, Matt.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know. And I guess if people disagree with that, if that's what they'd like, they just need to get in touch with you and pull on your chain a bit, and then maybe you'll change your priorities. Right.
Of course, Matt.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, is there anything else that we haven't covered, Alexis, that you'd like to talk about before we close today?
Yeah, I think we can give we can have a couple of words around the ConformIQ vision around MBT and BDD.
Aha. Yeah. Okay. Tell me more.
So inside ConformIQ, what we have is we have a different tool. We have really a tool that is called Conformic Creator that is really specialized around model-based testing, and we have a ConformIQ Visualizer that is really specialized around BDD. So one of the big challenge that we are trying to solve here is how can we integrate the two together so like that you can produce new, let's say, test cases, but also go to automation much faster. And probably I can take a couple of seconds to talk about model-based testing in general for people who don't know model-based testing. Model-based testing, it's a way to abstract your SUT. So it means that you are coming from the requirements. Based on your requirements, you will create a model. So a model, it's basically some boxes and arrow, if I need to really simplify what is model-based testing. And based on this model, again, a visual model of your specification, the tool, the engine will be able to generate some test cases and automation for you. So the idea of ConformIQ is really to be able to when you have all your feature file inside ConformIQ Visualizer, to export that into Conformic Creator, that is the MBT tool, to be able to merge all this feature file together, to be able to create a kind of system model, a full end-to-end model. So like that, instead of having, let's say, different feature file completely independent, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to merge everything in one single model. So like that, you can really go through different feature file in one single model, and the tool will take care of the test case generation, and of course, if you need automation, the automation too. So it's
So
really
the
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 vision that we have
model,
on.
my understanding, right, is that the model is like a series of state transitions. So in any given in any feature file, we have this state transition from the given state through the when state where we take an action into the then state, which is like the end state of each scenario. So each scenario represents usually ideally one state transition, and each state transition is represented on the model as like a box with a line going through it. And the idea is that you can kind of glue those scenarios together so you can see them as they fit together in a bigger picture. So this scenario leads to this other scenario, which leads to this other
Yes.
scenario. Is that correct?
Yes, it's exactly that. And the idea is again, when you are looking to bug and to testing in general, it's usually where you will find some bugs. When you are starting to glue a bit everything together, it's usually where you will find a lot of issues. And it's what we are trying to achieve here with this vision of BDD and MBT together inside ConformIQ.
Yeah, and it's also where a lot of teams can kind of drive themselves a little bit mad trying to cover off all of the different permutations, because the more you zoom out and try and test the whole system, the more combinatorial explosion you have with all of the different paths through the system. So MBT is a way for you to sort of see that problem for real, and I guess you can almost take as like a statistical approach to how many of these code paths do I want to cover. Is that the idea?
So I don't like the word statistical because we are deterministic. So it
Right.
means that when we are generating some test cases, we can reproduce the generation. So, but you're right. The approach that we are taking is really about um, gluing things together. So like that, we can also abstract. So the abstraction that you have inside BDD, we want to keep this abstraction. So like that, again, the goal is not to generate something like crazy that you cannot maintain. The goal is to generate something that you can reuse and you can maintain in the long run. So the abstraction and the beauty of model-based testing is really to be able to abstract a lot of things, and it's what we want to keep around this modelization when we are talking about BDD import inside ConformIQ Creator.
Right. And so do you see the relationship between creator and visualizer as being a sort of one-way traffic? So we do the work in visualizer, but then we export it into creator, or is it going to be like a two-way thing? So things that you learn in creator about your model can feed back into the gherkin.
Thank you for this question. So yes, I mean, when we import something into ConformIQ Creator, is we can regenerate the Gherkin file. So it means that if you are improving the model, we will regenerate some new Gherkin script. And of course, this Gherkin script can be kind of resynchronized inside your Git that will be pulled directly into Visualizer. So this is also the vision that we have. You can regenerate some new script. You can, again, pull that back inside Visualizer, modify things into Visualizer, because again, it's much easier to manage BDD inside Visualizer and loop again into Creator. So it's really
Mhm.
the vision that we have.
Well, I think it's fascinating, Alexis. I'm really interested and intrigued to see where this goes. I think the merging and the overlap of these two ideas is really fascinating, and I'm excited to see where this journey goes for you. Thanks so much for coming on the show today to talk about this. It's really great to get a good deep look at this product, and I hope that um, people who were already knew something about it have learned some new things, and people who were not yet aware of the product have we've at least piqued their interest to give it a try. How do people find this product if they want to give it a try, and also how can they get hold of you if they have tried it and they got feedback or questions?
So if they want to try Visualizer, we are available on Atlassian. So you just go on the marketplace and you can try it right now. If they want to have a demonstration for Creator, they can just contact sales@conformic.com, and we can set up an appointment and give you a nice demonstration and start to, let's say, answer all your issues that you have with MBT.
Okay, and is there a way to get hold of you directly, Alexis, if people are using Visualizer and they have thoughts and feelings they want to share with you? Is there a
Yeah,
way to
of
get hold of
course.
you on the internet?
Yes, of course. They can contact me directly by email with alexis.despeyroux@conformic.com. They can
Uh,
write directly to support and ask for me. I mean, it's not a problem. We are available for our customer.
awesome. All right. Well, thanks very much for coming on the show. Thanks everyone for watching. See you again next time.
Thank you.